And here we are again. Something I probably should have mentioned last time, all of this is off the cuff. There is no script, I am just doing whatever. A potato from the earth offers no healing benefit, but can certainly be thrown at foes. Most definitely. Just bell return. Not entirely sure about the lore implications of these things, I'll be perfectly frank. A clay pot of Birion fire. The recipe for true Birion fire is a closely guarded secret. The stuff in this pot is probably only a close approximation of it. Twin metal ring. A bluish metal ring resembling twisting thorns. Flesh and bone are weak things, but the fists of this ring's wearer may seem strong as wrought iron. We can thank the backlogs for that thing existing. Bag of salt. She travelled from village to village, a burlap bag of salt on her back, spreading wealth to the weak and infirm. Lucas 5:21. Flanged mace, a sturdy iron mace with an elegantly flanged head, designed to concentrate the force of its impact. Lethal and easily handled, in spite of, or perhaps thanks to, its simplicity. It is particularly effective against armoured or otherwise brittle opponents. I did remember to decrease the audio. Mend, didn't realise I picked that up. Broken bones, hewn flesh, and torn arteries are things that no poultice or herb mixture can remedy, but divine mending can make what is broken whole again. In other words, pray to the gods, you will be healed. I'll deal with the descriptions after these. Drowned raiders here. Cease. And if I saw correctly, you beastie. Raider's harness. This provides a surprising amount of protection. Raiders are common threats in the forest highlands of the continent of Iscaria, but many tribes are willing to work as sellswords to the royal army. Raider's Ushanka. This versatile accessory can be worn in several ways in order to adjust the level of warmth it provides, making it suitable for a wide variety of weather conditions. Raider's Portianki boots. Raider boots are crafted for exceptional durability and emphasize function over form, a necessary compromise given their violent and lawless ways. Raider's Taj. An iron round shield of the style carried by Magdor's Grey Raiders, a notorious band of outlaws known for their brazen attacks on caravans and merchant shipping. The Grey Raiders rose to infamy after thwarting repeated attempts by the Dorian military to stamp them out, but the group was finally eradicated by Iscarian mercenaries after the High Council branded them enemies of the state and issues bounties for their heads. Platoon crossbow, a basic mass-produced crossbow commonly issued to light infantry regiments and soldiers on guard duty. Designed more for a large-scale economy rather than actual effectiveness in battle, its simple components and solid construction nevertheless provide great reliability. Bolts, self-explanatory. Stone guide. Wait, an adventurous guide. Light vessel. A sealed clay vessel of light water, the bane of all things wicked and undead. Light water is said to hold the spit of Devourer, and with it, her limitless spite for evil. Spirited men, whether by the old gods, the new, or the pure will of man, great faith in a power beyond the mortal realm is always answered. And that latter bit of the great will of man explains why even the Iron Ones can utilize these prayers, given that they are technically atheists. Or perhaps more accurately, just not believing in any particular divinity. Well. Nope, not going to do a voice. Well. Looks like this is the end of the road for you, friend. If memory serves me right, the obelisk here is your door into the castle. The key, however, now that's a different story. Perhaps you should search the area below those seaside ruins where a forgotten feast festers. I think it always helps to go back to the start. But you started off this island. Can't go back there, can you? I think it always... Okay, yes, you already said that. Jarrett, there's his name. There you are, my pretty. Infantry poleaxe, this variation of the standard halberd, sports a crescent blade rather than a traditional convex axe head. Slightly more ornate than its utilitarian counterparts, but considerably less practical as a result. This design is typically limited to ceremonial use. It is most commonly carried by guardsmen on formal occasions. Chain coif, cowl made of chain links. Chain gauntlets, similar idea. We'll be meeting your brother eventually. Yes, bestiary entries. Forgot. We got some more of those. Drowned soldier. An unarmed drowned sellsword, even. He must have washed ashore. He exists in a state of undead mindlessness, but he's not completely devoid of combat skill. Drowned raider. The reanimated drowned remains of a barbaric raider, adorned in salt-crusted furs and armed to the teeth with crude axes. The Sodden Knight, the stoic protector of the festering banquet. The Sodden Knight bears decades of dried sea air on his tattered shroud. Drowned peasant. An unarmed sailor, her soul met with the same misfortune as so many of this island's denizens, yet his body plods on, struggling, never knowing what it struggles for. Drowned bandits, the drowned corpse of a common highwayman. reanimated and renewed as the marauding villain he formerly was in nearly every way. Self-bow, a simple bow cut from a single curved hardwood branch and strung with sinew. Used mainly for hunting small game, bows of this type require only a few basic materials and are relatively easy to construct. For children in many of the western continent's forest-dwelling tribes, crafting one and mastering its use are not only integral elements of their community's coming-of-age ceremonies, but practical skills of everyday life as well. The vile hawks, of course. And where's the ammo? Going to have to equip it, aren't I? Yes, I am. Flame arrow, a wooden arrow designed to deliver a fiery payload to its targets. Flame arrows were crucial in taming the low swamps of Cadania. And arrow self-explanatory. Common polearm in widespread use throughout the continents, typically as a complement to shorter weapons such as maces and swords, crafted in various styles for purposes both practical and ceremonial. Spears are a ubiquitous sight in the hands of gate guards and infantrymen. I prefer my infantry poleaxe, thank you very much. Hello, friend. Trinkets to sell, trinkets per coin. Friend, I'm so happy you came along. I've gathered things, trinkets and such. Trinkets for gold, that's what I've got. Trinkets for coin. How'd you end up here? I stowed away. They sold trinkets in town up here, trinkets for coin. So poor, though. Talk of wealth in Karhi. Even beggars like me have got manservants there, they say. Stowed away, sailed, and that storm. Imagine the surprise on those sailors' faces, seeing the likes of me in the wreckage there with all of 'em honest men. All of us floating in the sea, clinging to planks, shivering in the icy cold. Not sure how many of the others made it to shore. That shivering, shivering shore. But the trinkets I find here, they do sell, they do. Doing quite nicely I am. Soon enough I'll be able to buy my escape. Somehow. Lock of hair. A soldier's memento to a deceased loved one. It held the promise of an eventual reunion. Its memories can be used to upgrade weapons. Endless fang. A fang left behind by a vanquished beast. Its lifespan must somehow reach back to ancient things, far beyond that of its owner. Stained page. A page from an unholy tome, stained in shifting darkness. Applied to a weapon to give it arcane damage. Beggar's armor. A tattered hood of coarse hemp. Scratchy and uncomfortable. It provides basic protection from the elements, but causes unbearable chafing of the ears. Arguably more effective for maintaining some modicum of decency than actually protecting its wearer from the elements. The rough, abrasive cloth all but defeats the purpose of protecting the wearer's hands from blisters. This tattered garment serves more to shield others from emotional damage than to protect its wearer from physical harm. The double soldier. Battle-worn helmet of the Sodden Knight. Full-plate armor of the Sodden Knight wrapped in a thick and extremely heavy fur mantle soaked with countless years of sea spray. Steel cuirass and gauntlets. Not much else to say. More torch. Now, on most people's first run-ins, and my faith First to fifth, I should specify. Hey, this guy, he's a bit of a nuisance. Fuck off. Die. You might even end up using the stand pig just to get rid of him. Which, I mean, early on, useful for getting a bunch of salt to level up, but not much else aside from that. Armormite, if memory serves, is what that guy is. Yep. Armormite. A cave-dwelling, heavily armoured, chitinous creature. The Armormite is actually two creatures, an ogre crab and the fleshy bipedal victim, usually a man. It has repurposed as its torso half. The victim doesn't actually die during the fusion, though once the process has begun, it cannot survive without its host. Grim. Not entirely sure whether or not it can be considered the worst fate on the island, though. Hello, Chain Wraith. Blade Wraith, rather. A cloaked creature of chains and bones. Blade Wraiths, like so many of this island's Kraken inhabitants, are constructs of some powerful conjurer, weaved from materials both corporeal and ethereal. And considering the location, almost certainly alchemists. Salt magic. Which I suppose you can consider a form of necromancy in this. Convenience sake. Level up. The Sodden Knight's ashes. Ashes of the Sodden Knight. His charge was to protect the fortress that became known as the Festering Banquet. When and how the fortress became a cursed place of shambling monsters remains a mystery. Charred doll. A wooden doll. A soldier held it to remind him of his family back home. Drowned peasant's ear. Ear of a drowned peasant. Perhaps it is fitting these poor souls return from the dead, for no one even thought to erect a gravestone in their names when the darkness took them. Yes. Drowned Raider's ear. Ear of a drowned raider. A relentless, brutal, and mindless barbarian that most likely patrolled Bandits' Pass. A shipwrecked raider was most likely a sellsword sent to fight another king's war, but on this island the rotted remains of those warriors seem to have settled into something resembling mindless banditry. Skullbat wing. Wing of a skullbat. Skullbats, known for their fur patterns, are one of the few of the island's inhabitants that exist back on the mainland. They're reviled for their habit of feeding on the blood of livestock, but they typically avoid man. Typically. So why are they coming after us? Kismet stone. A delicate ring carved of a solid chunk of precious gem. Kismet. Adventurers always seek pilfered prizes, but it seems that whether a slain foe's spoils are all trash or treasure always comes down to luck. Increases item find rate. The Village Smiles. Welcome to... I want to say Coast Rock. Could be wrong. That was a long range. Kraken Knights. Ooh, we got a Kraken Helm. It disappeared. Bronze Knight Ashes. Ashes of a Bronze Knight. It's rumored that Bronze Knights are merely vessels to some sort of foreign entity, though whether this means they all share consciousness or are all controlled by a single incredibly powerful mind is all in the realm of myth and conjecture. Heavy bronze helm worn by one of the Bronze Knights, mysterious guardians of the island. A well-armored knight, these powerful warriors wordlessly patrol the island, corralling the drowned and hunting the living. So which are we? Both. I'm fairly certain the answer. Welcome to Limbo. Or Purgatory. Whichever you prefer. Oh, I didn't check you. Lightning Bolt. Summon a bolt of lightning. The lightning may pass through multiple targets. A conduit, such as a wand or staff, is a powerful channeling tool in the hands of an experienced mage. Drowned Archer. The shambling remains of a hooded bowman. Many conscripted archers learn the skill from hunting small game. What was it like to live the life of a hunter, a soldier, and a sailor before becoming reduced to a putrescent gestalt of the three? Oh my. I wonder if that's a reference, a backhanded jab at a certain creed. Vine Mesh Peltarian. Used in ritual dances by the head-hunting tribes of Cadania, these shields are formed by painstakingly training certain dense species of liana into a complex symmetrical mesh and allowing them to inosculate. I am unfamiliar with the terminology. I'll deal with you in a moment. Curiosity. What creature persists in the face of such suffocating despair? The others have begun to kneel. Will it join them? Nah. Such a brave, foolish curiosity. It will struggle then, and it will bleed, and it will fall. And one day, when it finds itself beaten and broken, gasping for air, choking on its own blood and tears, that will be the day that it kneels, and I will consume it. You can call this a megaphone. That's basically what it is. It's a speaker system. It's a supernatural PA system. No. cease your tomfoolery. Fused metal ring. It's just a rigid metal ring. It increases endurance, which is actually quite useful, as it does it by a decent enough margin. Yes, 3. Enough to make a difference. No, good, we're far enough away, I can check a thing. Grey pearl. A weightless grey stone of immeasurable value. An inanimate object, it still somehow exudes a powerful yearning, as if it will find peace only by robbing the memories that are living. Which in our case means changing out skill points. Hello, Saltless. Saltless, pitiful creature of flesh and rags, thrall of the architect Kyra, unmatched in salt alchemy. No, sorry, those were separate sentences. Yes. Kyra, unmatched in salt alchemy, constructed a company of salt-built creatures to guard her and aid in her research. The saltless are designed to be always desiring salt, forever unable to consume it. Okay, we're fine. We're watching woods, but we're not dealing with you yet. Pest mud. A vial of highly toxic pest mud. A sap harvested from trees found deep in Kadani swamps. Apply it to your weapon to add poison damage to your attacks. Oh, I always thought it was Kadanian as the noun variant of Cadania. Guess it's Kadani. A conduit of mind. Bond of extreme focus. I think you mean band of extreme focus. It allows its wearer to maintain spellcasting ability past the point of normal exhaustion. Kurimoa. A two-handed sword first carried by the Highland clans of Dor Isle, but now widely popular throughout the continents owing to its versatility and relative ease of use. Its unpretentious design emphasizes function over form in a humble testament to the virtues of simplicity. Indeed, big sword hit thing hard, therefore thing die. Blacksmith's apron. A thick leather apron worn by blacksmiths at the forge. It is designed to absorb intense sparks and cushion minor impacts, but is insufficient for turning aside purposeful blows from real weapons. Blacksmith's gloves. Prevent burns. Not good at deflecting attacks. Blacksmith's boots. Protection from hot coals and stubbed toes. Hey outsider, need some smithing? The only one who's offering us their services willingly. You have my respect. And my malice as you follow false gods. Material gods, much more so than in other religions. but still false gods you are quite literally forced to believe in. Keep your wits about you out there. Back home we'd forge fine instruments from pure living steel. What do I craft with here? Salvage, salvage, salvage. That, and memories. Perhaps a little more literal than you might think. I'll save that for later. No, we'll do it now. It's probably best if I space out these. Poultice pouch. Gain an additional healing potion. Bloodied but yet resolute, and under light of moon he tended scrapes and minor wounds. His journey could resume. The Tale of Velkaram, stanza 27. Class 3 Pikeman. Ajnders A.J. Nders, the Virian, and Genders. Anders? Is the J silent or is the A silent? I can't imagine that they're both pronounced. Anders the Birian and Elia Rum were strikers, equipped with glaive and javelin. Kesek Turman and his cousin Azimar would use bow and scout, and Todgy Longsmith was our chef, though he could crack a skull or two in a pinch. That is from The Folly Knoll Horror. Stanza... no. S4. Presumably stanza 4. And is there a thing that I want getting rid of so I can advance further? Yes, there is. It will be... let's make it that point of strength. His journey took him through the woods, through valleys so abyssal. The nights were fraught with dreadful sounds. The days were not less dismal. The Tale of Velkaram, stanza 18. Onwards and upwards. Or downwards, I suppose. I don't know. The geometry of this place is weird. If you define down as the point where gravity goes towards, this place is weird. Cease. Leave me be, bandits. Faithful ring, a pale metal ring. Its symbol is one of protection against the sinister and the unknown. Wrapped link, a thin metal ring wrapped in cloth. Increases rolling speed, and one of my personal favourites, of course. As is to be expected. As much as I like how the heavy armour in this game looks, I do prefer rolling over taking damage. Over blocking, is the term I'm thinking of. There we go. Blessed Pages. A page from a blessed tome. The strength of the 1,000 miracles still clinging playfully to it. Apply it to your weapon to add holy damage. Hello, Queen Linnea, the Queen of Smiles, with the greatest smile of them all. though again, I have played this game far too much. I honestly don't know if that should be a difficult boss or not. I don't remember. The Queen of Smiles. Cruel wraith queen of Livon, she loved to adorn her city walls with the grotesquely smiling corpses of her victims. In life she wielded the fabled Sword of Rain, and in undeath she wields 1,000 more. I don't remember if I said this place was in Livon or not. Oh yes, the ghastly gourd. A carved gourd, its flesh has been sealed into a thick arcane fabric. Rendering it an effective, if curious, piece of armor. The Mad Queen Linnea was as bloodthirsty as she was eccentric, and one of her better-known peculiarities was her mortal fear of gourds. She just kind of kept on getting random fierce. The Queen of Smiles' Ear of Linnea, Queen of Smiles, she ruled over in what became known as the Reign of Blood, an era marked by her frequent rage-filled quells and purges. When her reign was finally cut short by a mob of vengeful villagers, it was seen fit to leave her with the greatest smile of them all. Or in other words, they cut off her mandible, the lower jaw. Chef. Cooking for peasantry was dirty, grueling, and unfulfilling work, but that didn't keep the average chef from lauding his status when possible. After all, any man can reach a point where a salted potato is more valuable than a kingdom. Very true. Chef's toque. Despite its rather odd appearance, it serves the entirely practical purpose of keeping its wearer's hair safely out of his guest's soup. Nothing to say about the trousers. Iron pot. Cast iron pot. There. Used for reducing stocks, simmering stews, and, in a pinch, cracking skulls. I've never properly gone through all of the item descriptions. I forget that Scar Studios has a sense of humor. Oh, sorry, no. Devoured Studios now, isn't it? Red flask, a flask of incandescent red. Its cork is stamped with the crest of the three, and its ownership by apostates is forbidden. Class 3 Heavy Armor. In the rainy darkness, Jacob could tell the huddled figure was a man, and that man was gravely wounded. He hurried forward, still mindful of his surroundings, only to discover that the victim was someone he recognized. The knight, Leonworth, the smith's apprentice, page 16. In a few steps I was upon him. I slashed low with flaming glaive, severing one leg at the calf, deeply wounding the other at the ankle. He pitched forward in a shower of sparks, his bloody torn trousers alight in flame. The Foley Knoll Horror, stanza 56. And that will be all for now. Do enjoy yourselves out there.